Yes, yes, yes. This is me again tonight. I'm doing another live tonight. My topic is about yam and how people eat yam as a food. Now, yam is a common food in the Caribbean. And a lot of the yam we eat come from Africa. Not all, but a lot of yam. Now, those of us who travel as Caribbean people and we're living in North America, we exposed to different cultures. And we exposed to each other's food. So I'm in Toronto for a couple of years now, more than half of my life. And I try to eat Caribbean food that you grew up with. So I'm from Grenada, and I know in Grenada we grow a lot of yam. So then when I come to Canada, I realize Jamaicans eat a lot of yam, and they have a bigger population than Grenada. So they eat lots of yam. And other Caribbean people eat yam too, eat a lot of yam, but the Jamaican population is bigger than the other islands in North America and in Britain too, because Jamaica have a larger population. But I observed that Jamaicans eat yellow yam, or in Grenada we call it yellow yam, Attuto yam. And there are places in Africa where they call the same yellow yam Attuto yam too. In West Africa, there are certain countries, tribes call it Attuto yam. So let me get into the nitty-gritty what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that Jamaicans eat yellow yam when they say it's ripe. So they let the yam stay in the ground for a longer period than in Grenada. We don't let the yam stay that long. And there is a traditional reasons why in Grenada, Grenadians do let yellow yam or Attuto yam stay in the ground for as long as how the Jamaicans leave it stay long in the ground. In Grenada, yellow yam is planted around July month. And by December, January, especially in December, yellow yam is part of the Grenadian dish. So the Grenadians start eating the yellow yam in December month, or just before Christmas, or just before the New Year, so around Christmas time. In Grenada, they dig the yellow yam or the Attuto yam, how we call it, in the end of the year. But the main reason why Grenadians eat the yam after 6 months, 7 months, 6 months. Traditionally, in Grenada, they believe that the yam has a medicine, right? And the medicine in the yam is when the yam is not ripe. So in Grenada, we eat the yam when it's bitter. And the elders call it patent yam. And when we as children ask them why they call it patent yam, patent mean is something special or something medical for them, for the elders. So eating Attuto yam when it bitter in Grenada, you don't only eating a food, you're taking in a patent medicine in your body. So in Grenada, we eat yellow yam, Attuto yam when it bitter. Whilst in Jamaica, they eat it when it ripe and eating it, you don't get the bitterness taste. So whenever I go buy Attuto yam or yellow yam, I always look for the one that look not ripe. I don't want the one that ripe. I know the difference. I eat the one that bitter. So we eat yellow yam when it bitter. So I learned that cultures are different in different countries. So the Jamaicans eat the yam when it's ripe and you don't get the bitter taste. So in Grenada, we eat the yellow yam as the bitter, and we should leave it as that, as part of our culture. Eating yellow yam when it's bitter is part of our culture, and we must be open-minded. If you go to a Jamaican cultural place or event and they're eating yellow yam and they're eating it when it is without the bitter taste, enjoy the Jamaican way of eating it, because that's the culture. But we must not give up our Grenadian way of eating yellow yam, because our ancestors taught us that eating yellow yam when you have a bitter taste is a medication and also a diet. So as a Grenadian, when I go to buy yam in the Caribbean supermarkets, I buy my yam and look for the yam that look young, not the overripe one. And look for it because I want to eat my yam when it's bitter. That's how I want to eat my yam. Because once I was buying yam, and when I pick it up, a lady asked me, why is that type of take? I said, this is what we eat. We eat it when it's bitter. And she said, no, in Jamaica, we don't really eat that part so much. So whenever I go to buy Attuto yam or yellow yam, I always look for the one that is going to taste bitter, the young one. And I usually always lucky to get, because I notice when the Jamaican buy yam, they don't buy the part that should continue growing. They buy the more older part of the yam, if they're going to buy a piece of yam, because the yam cut up. But I guess me as a Grenadian and other Grenadian people, we buy the part of the yam, not by the head, the part what cut from the plant. We eat the one what could continue growing, because this is where the medicine is, in the yellow yam. So that's our traditional culture, and we must keep it. Eat with yellow yam in that way. Yeah. Continue to eat the yellow yam in that way. And we should always keep that culture, because this is part of our culture. Plant more yellow yam, eat more yellow yam, but continue in the Grenadian way to eat the yellow yam when it's bitter. but accept other people who eat it when it is ripe. And also eat it. You must eat it when it's ripe too, for different tastes. Don't be ashamed to be open-minded and eat other people's food, because food is culture. So nothing is wrong to eat yellow yam when it is bitter or when it is not bitter. But as Grenadian, I'll continue eating my yellow yam, Attuto yam, when it is bitter. Anyway, this is me, Hudson George. I go on till I come again.